There's another one you don't want to hear. Frankly, if you want.
1, 2, 3, set, go.
You are tuned into the Power Chord Hour right here on 107.9 WRFA and on the Power Chord Hour podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Merchant, and on this episode, I am pleased to welcome Joe Rio and Rob Freeman of the band Hidden in Plain View. We got Joe returning for his second appearance. I can't believe it's been that long, but over 2 years at this point. We had him on 2 years ago talking life and dreaming. Now we're talking new music, and we even got Rob this time, so I'm very excited for this. The band just released 2 new songs. We got Temper and Wildfire, and first new music from the band since 2015, that Animal EP. And we're gonna talk new music. They're also playing Furnace Fest later this year, so we got a few things to talk about with Hidden in Plain View. So let's get into it. Joe, Rob, how are both of you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having us.
Great, man. Yeah. Thank you.
I was thinking about it earlier, and I mean, for one, how long Hidden in Plain View's been around, and if I'm not mistaken, both of your original members, did you guys know each other prior to Hidden in Plain View, or did both of you meet from the band?
No, actually, Joe was the only guy in the band that I knew. We had known each other through high school. We had a band prior to Hidden in Plain View. So what would you say, freshman year of high school, I guess, is when I met you?
Since we were 14. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're and Joe, I think we might have talked about this a little bit last time you were on, but like, is Hidden in Plain View both of your like first real bands? Were there any like high school bands in there, anything like beforehand, or was this kind of both your first like official band?
Yeah, I think I think the band Rob was just talking about was like our high school band.
Okay.
Like our high school, like all of our buddies were in the band, and
We had like 9 members.
Oh my God, were you a ska band?
Yes.
you just outed us.
You nailed it.
There's only one reason you have 9 members. Unless you have like 4 guitar players, I don't know why you have 9 members.
Anthony, you didn't miss on that at all.
It's 2 things. Either you're a ska band or you have a revolving door of musicians. Like, you're very hard to work with, and there were just a bunch of different people coming in and out.
I was dancing around it, and you just went right for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm embracing it at this point. I'm like, there was definitely a point when I was like, I was in a ska band, but I embraced that shit. That shit ruled.
It's come back too. Ska's like cool again. There's a lot of ska bands again. Like, I feel like it's a time to bring that out. It's like, no, I have some history in that.
Yeah.
But so did that band, were you two the only ones from that went into, like, did that morph into Hidden in Plain View, or was it just you were both kind of in that and then went on to Hidden in Plain View? Because I know sometimes you have those bands where it's like, we started as this and we morphed into it. Was that the thing with Hidden in Plain View, or no, that these are like 2 separate bands?
I think with a lot of, sorry to cut you off, Joe, but I think with a lot of high school bands, like, you run to every band runs into that right now. It's time to go to college, and is the band going to be a band anymore? And with eight over par, the ska band, we had 8 members, maybe not 9. That band kind of dissolved once college hit.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew for myself, I still wanted to play music. So I ended up joining another band for about a year. And then same situation, that band broke up because of college. And oddly enough, at our last show, before the hiatus of, going away to school and figure things out, I met Derek Riley, who was our original drummer. And he's like, yeah, I'm jamming with these guys. We're looking for a guitar player / singer. And so I went down and auditioned, and I was like, these guys are really cool. It's like, it wasn't ska anymore. It was more punk. And the first thing I thought of was Joe. Like, he would be a great fit for this group. Because although I sing, I never saw myself as being a lead singer. So yeah, that's how that kind of morphed, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense from there. And I mean, I've always liked the dynamic in the band too, because I feel like Rob, for you, like I don't know how you would count like backing vocals or what you would say, but I like it because your presence, I feel like in Hidden in Plain View, you do more than just backing vocals, but also, yeah, I wouldn't even, I don't know if you call it co-leads or what, but like it works in a way that some bands, I don't know, it's a nice level that I don't think every band has when they have like two vocalists, because it's almost, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like when I'm listening, even on the new songs, it works very well. I mean, both of you sing on those and both sound like amazing. The other thing too, I mean, I was wondering, because one of the things that I noticed, like vocal wise, both of your vocals like they're always like so great, like never miss a beat. You're back at it. And I mean, you know, obviously the band kind of takes breaks at times. Are either of you really singing much like throughout the years when you're not doing Hidden in Plain View? Because both of your voices like really like hold up like amazingly. Like they sound the same like they did like say 15 years ago. Like I feel like same vocals like you hear like on, you know, like Life and Dreaming. I mean, do you sing much in between, or is it at this point you just sing and you do Hidden in Plain View stuff?
I mean, I am always singing. I don't want to like sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I think I got better as I got older. I just I mean, I'm the kind of person that just always sings. I'm in the car, like on the way to work, on the way home to work. I have a playlist I'm singing along to. And I think because I do stuff like that, or I'm always learning new things, new tricks, you know, different head voices or different like falsetto voices or just different things I'm trying. And so I think I keep the strength in there, but I'm also just like being influenced differently. So I am always singing. I think that's why Bob thought of me too, is as a singer for Hidden in Plain View back in 2000, 2001, because it wasn't like I was the singer in the ska band. I wasn't really the singer.
You kind of were,
but I
though,
was always
towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end, I did take some of that. But
when we went from 8 members down to 6 members,
yeah,
we had to, you know, Joe was the trumpet player, so he had to step up the singing game.
Did you guys do any touring like when you were in 8Ps? Because that has to be insane to tour with that many people.
No. No, we didn't.
We'd take like 7 cars to a show.
Sorry, Joe. I know I cut you off for that pressing question.
No, I was gonna go on your point for about our like dual vocals. I think that one of the wonderful things about Rob and I's vocals is that, you know, sometimes you can't tell who's singing. Sometimes it's
we get that a lot.
On record, you can't. We've always sang together, and when we sing together, harmonies match just really nice. And you know, when we trade off, those things happen real nice. And then, you know, sometimes bands, I think, with just one singer will record these songs where they're actually trading off with themselves in the studio. And then how do you do that live? You know, where Rob and I've never really had that problem. And sometimes actually live, he'll sing a part that I sing on the record, and on the record,
and vice versa.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah.
That might be a part. It might be a part where like I have a guitar part that just doesn't really, you know, lean to being able to sing over, you know. So he'll take those parts. But really, if I'm not mistaken, Joe, we kind of learned to sing together. Yeah. You know,
in your truck.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, we never learned like how to, you know, we maybe took a couple lessons, but that was more for like vocal stamina versus like how to take care of your voice versus like learning how to sing. So I think that's kind of was kind of cool about our band, which definitely when we are singing together, our voices kind of make one sound sometimes, you know, which is cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I mean, they're really like, again, and I feel like you both explained it better than I could, but there is a difference. There's bands who have the two singers, the dual vocals and stuff, but Hidden in Plain View's always done it differently. Like, I don't know. There's just, and kind of like you said though, too, there is this thing where you're listening and I don't know that right away you tell like when the vocals get changed up or like, you know, it goes from Joe and then maybe Rob, you come in the next verse in a good way. Like it's seamless. It's not a thing where like right away, like it just pops, like you hear it. It takes that you go, oh yeah, like now Rob's going. Like it, you really, you are woven really well. Which I mean, if you learn to sing together, band's been going so long now too that it's like it makes total sense. This band's tailored for your vocals, basically. I mean, if this is kind of how you're learning together, there's no better place to, you know, kind of apply that. So let's talk, you know, like with that everything. Let's talk I want to get into these new songs because they really are like they are. I think I told maybe you, Joe, but like you guys just pick up. You can disappear. You cannot put anything out for a while. Come back, and it's like you didn't miss a beat. It's I mean, it was the same thing with the Animal EP. I know last time you were on, we talked about that, and I was telling you how great that was to just. I mean, you guys picked up again, and same with these new ones. And I wanted to ask, I mean, like Joe, last time you were on, we were talking that at that time you guys did have some new music. You weren't sure what you were doing with it and stuff. Were these those songs or these from those sessions that we talked about a few years ago?
Yeah, well, you have a good memory. They were. And, you know, it was funny because you said the last time we talked, it was like right before, you know, the world shifted.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we had, you know, part of the reason why they got derailed was just, you know, because of everything got derailed in 2020, you know, early 2020. So finally, you know, we just couldn't delay on it anymore. So rather than wait around for like the perfect situation, we kind of just looked at each other. We're like, let's just do this. Let's just release some songs. So that's where we're at. Yeah.
When did the initial decision, like, now's the time for it? Like, how far back were you like, all right, now is probably the time for the songs? Because and the other thing too, like when we were talking, I remember that because you had these songs, and I know I think at the time you're kind of like, you know, we want to put them out, but we want to kind of be able to do something with it too, which it was hard to kind of do anything with it after we talked. So I was kind of thinking, even after we did that interview, I'm like, they'll probably sit on those for a while, just because, again, if you want to do stuff with them or you want to, you know, you're playing Furnace Fest later, like, you know, just have something to do. I was like, yeah, they're probably waiting. So, I mean, like, how far back was it like, okay, we're going to release these now? Like, you know, the last one got released. The first single got released last month, and then Wildfire came out, like a week ago, I think, at this point? So, like, when did you finally decide those were coming out, like, now?
When was it? I don't even know.
Probably, I don't know, probably around the new year, I guess, maybe, right?
Yeah.
We started kind of getting things put in motion. Like everyone else, once we started to realize that, like, you know, live music is a real thing again, because that's kind of what we are at this point. You know, we do it for that. And so it didn't make sense to release songs when you couldn't pair some shows up to them, you know.
No, it makes sense, because I remember, Joe, I think that's kind of what you were saying when we were talking. It's like, you know, we want to release music, we want to release these and be able to tour with them or play them live or do something. So
yeah,
you know.
for us, it's just like we've like you said, we take these breaks or we really, it's not like we're taking breaks. Really, we just kind of get together and do stuff when we get this urge to have it be fun. You know, it's like we're in this stage of our careers now where we do it because we want to do it, and then, you know, we've got our lives and other things happen. But when these opportunities arise, it's just like, you know, yeah, I could go back to Hidden and Plainview and have some fun playing in the band again for sure. And that's kind of how the conversation picks up. We all agree, and then we want to do it. You know,
or even like with the new songs too. Like, I never sit down to be like, it's time to write another Hidden in Plainview song. You know,
right.
It's like it hits me, and all of a sudden I'm at my studio, and it's after hours, and I'm sending off a voice memo to Joe with a song. I have a song. Cool, let's record it. You know, it's not like we're planning you know, back in the day, be like, all right, it's time to make an album. Let's sit down for a month and write songs. That doesn't really happen anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So it seems to be kind of around whenever that inspiration strikes, then it gets us together, and then we're rehearsing, and, you know.
Was it you, Rob, then, who kind of got the ball rolling on these two new songs? I mean, were you the one who initially had the idea to, like, let's write some new songs for the, you know, these ones we're now hearing?
Kind of. Temper was a song that came together. I want to say it was like the rehearsals. What shows were we doing at the time?
It's hard to remember.
Some of these songs, they date back. Like, they're not like they
were
really? written a year ago now. I mean, because like at one point, like, they were probably written 2 years before we're ready to release it. But then the pandemic hits, and then that's 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So that song kind of came together by jamming, getting ready to rehearse for some shows we were doing. I'm not really sure which ones, to be honest. Because like Joe said, it's not like we're a full-time band. It's more like when it lines up, right, we do it. We're not trying to force things.
Well, that's what I like is the not forcing of things. I think a lot of bands I notice have this like second act in their career where a lot of times they start putting out some of the best stuff they've done, and you realize pressure's off. They're not doing it's not a 2-year cycle. We got to put out another record. We got to go on tour. We got to do this or that. It's like, we're just gonna do this when we want to, or like when we have inspiration. And it seems like bands are putting out better stuff that way. Like I would rather you put something out every now and then go, oh my God, it's been however many years since the Animal EP. We need to do something. I think as a fan, I would much rather you just inspiration strikes and there you go. Time for new Hidden in Plain View. Do you like it sounds like, and I think you just said it, like you'll just kind of get those randomly then. You'll just kind of be working on music now and then you'll kind of get something that goes, this will probably work for Hidden in Plain View.
Yeah, I guess, the thing with the Hidden in Plain View songs is like, we're not gonna go put out like a reggae album, like it's gotta say like, so when a riff comes out of, comes to me or something, and like I'm like, that feels like Hidden in Plain View, then we go with that.
Instant? Is it pretty instant then that you can go, oh yeah, this is probably a Hidden in Plain View thing?
I think so. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but I know if I'm writing a song, because I've released solo music now and then, I know when it's a band song or it's a solo song before it even, before it's halfway written, right? Sometimes there'll be an idea that kind of crosses over, but very rarely.
Well, now I want to kind of ask, going off of that, Rob, I mean, I know you do like production and stuff too. During like the first run of the band, were you like recording and producing other bands, or did that come afterwards?
No, pretty immediately. I was doing every break of the tour. I was able to record. My parents were cool enough to let me build a studio in the basement, which was our rehearsal space sometimes, and where we demoed countless songs.
We always demoed, yeah. Some of those demos.
I mean, the first version of 20 Below is my parents' basement.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask with that, because the way you're talking about it, where like, you have an idea and you can start figuring out like it's a Hidden Play View, song pretty fast. So I noticed when I talk to like music producers, a lot of times you start getting that part of your brain where you can hear a song written before it's written. I mean, is that kind of what, can you hear Hidden in Plain, like parts for songs and stuff like that before they're written? I think you just kind of said it a second ago. And that's why I was like asking that, because I'm like, I feel like that's kind of a music producer thing to be like that. We're going, maybe you have that riff, but like, my God, the whole damn song is being written in your head, like as it's going, like before you even get with the rest of the band. I mean, are you doing that at all?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's from the first initial input, I'm like, I already hear what's going to happen around it, and then it's just a matter of like, I forget who said it once. I think it might have been, doesn't matter, but I know where it's got to go, and now I just got to figure out how to get there,
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. What got you into that side of like, I'm always interested in that, in the recording and producing and stuff. Like what piqued your interest on that side of music?
If I'm being honest, that's what I wanted to do from day one. Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean, being in a band was kind of a bonus, right? I've always wanted to do music production. Like, I don't really know why. I just was really fascinated by it.
On the other side, it's always interesting with that, because some people, it seems like they pick it up later on. Like it is a thing where the band breaks up and then I kind of get into it, or like, I kind of was watching the producers we worked with a little. That's it's kind of interesting you come from it that way. Have you always?
Well, I mean, he's being modest, Anthony. If we go all the way back to the 8 over par like days, it was an 8-track cassette player that I remember we would like set up and do funny demos on. Like, we're going back to like 14, 15 years old. That's where he started. And then, I mean, some of my favorite memories for Hidden were, I like picture it real well in his parents' basement. Like, it was after the band had already kind of recorded their rhythm tracks, and it was just Rob and I, and it was late maybe, and he had his microphone right next to him at the control board, and I would be over by my microphone, and he would just tell me like, dude, sing this part, I got an idea, and he'll sing his part. And like, my favorite thing was like he would bounce it down, you make a mix, bounce it down, give me a like a burned copy on a CD, and I would listen to it all the way home. Like those were our demos, you know, and those what or became hidden in plain view. So some of those songs were life and dreaming songs.
Oh,
I
really?
think even yeah.
Wow, those go way back.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. That is really crazy. Like for you then, Rob, I mean, have you basically had a hand then in the behind like the recording and production side of like all hidden in plain view releases? I didn't realize you'd been doing it that long. I mean, have you just all releases you've done some of the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I was definitely always the guy that was the most annoying guy in the studio, asking the producer a million questions, to the point where they'd probably be like, "You got to leave the room." But I mean, for example, Chris Badami produced our first EP, and then our first self-titled EP, and he was a teacher of mine. Like he taught
really?
at the county college, and I interned for him for many months. So that's one example of like, was I recording it? No, but like I was learning while I was there, and definitely, I would say more hands-on than most people, right? But I don't know. But there's also like it's a language, right? Recording has its own little lingo to it. So because I'm versed in that stuff, I might have been the translator sometimes when it came to like a guitar tone we're looking for, or like a mix. I was the guy that would go into the studio and do the mix recalls, not because I'm this great mixer at that age, but because I could communicate what we wanted.
You're like the bridge in between like the musicians and the producer side of it.
Yeah, the really annoying guy.
Yeah, but seriously, like he would come up with some ideas. I remember like he'd come up with some ideas, and the producer might look at him like, "What? Really? We just don't do that." And
I mean, that's Garden Statement. The end of that song was the producer's like, "I don't know what you're doing here, man." I'm like, "No, I got an idea. I swear I do. Like, bear with me. It's gonna come together. I swear."
Yeah,
I'm happy he waited and listened. I mean, one of the best songs.
In his defense, though, like Garden Statement has two parts, right? It has the whole big ending at the end.
Yeah.
In the producer's defense, like I didn't quite have the lyrics written yet, but I'm like, they're gonna be there. I promise. So in his mind, he's like, "You're playing two chords for the last 4 minutes of the song." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's gonna be great lyrics. I promise."
Oh, it kind of goes back to that. Like in your head, you can hear, like in your head, this is going to be great. It's not there yet, but it's great.
And it was like, and I had lyrics, and not to get off subject, but like when we recorded that album, we lived Joe, about 3 miles from the studio.
Yeah.
So we could choose to walk to the studio or drive. And one morning I decided to walk, and it just hit me, like as it does often with lyrics, is like it's when you're doing the mundane stuff, right? If you're folding laundry, or you're on a drive, or you're in the shower, that's when those kind of ideas come out. And I walked to the studio and was so stoked. So I'm like, I have it, and it's a 2-part vocal, And later that night, I was like, "Jim, I have the part," and so he sent me in to show him it. And I did. It's basically it's a traded vocal. If I would have done it differently, I would have traded with Joe on this part. But there's also a secondary vocal on top of that. Whatever. But I did the A and B lines. I did the every other line, the first take. But I did the every other line first, and everyone seemed pretty stoked. And I was like, "All right, take 2, give me another track." And I did the alternate lines, and I was in the zone, but then Jim was like flipping out, and he's like, "That's it." And it literally is it's 2 takes technically, but never. It's like, yeah, that's what it was. And he was like, Jim was very big on having those moments that are like, you can't fix that. You kind of captured lightning in the bottle there, right?
The 5th take's not going to have the magic that first one did. You can't do probably 5 seconds.
And at that point, it was probably close to midnight at the studio, and everyone's kind of burnt out, and it was a pretty cool moment, right? I mean,
that's so neat.
I mean, there's actually, I probably even shouldn't say this, but like, I say a wrong word in that part.
Really?
Yes.
Oh
and he wouldn't let me fix it because it was like, no, it's fine, leave it.
Dude, I know that has eaten you up like for 18 years now. Am I right? Like, does that still bug you? Is that?
I mean, I sing the right word live. Put it that way.
That's one of those things. No one else would know that. No one would notice. Even you telling me that now, I probably wouldn't hear if I listened to it, but you know it.
Oh, I know
it. The bummer of it. It's one of those things. You know it.
Yeah.
Is it in the lyrics of the album art? Correct? I don't even know.
I don't even want to know.
Shouldn't have said anything.
Better left not knowing. Oh, I love hearing about the and I mean, like, I never realized, I guess, that role, Rob. I mean, again, I know you produce and record and stuff, but I mean, how much of a bridge you kind of are in between that and kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff, including on the older things. Like, I knew you worked on these songs, right? Because the new songs were recorded at your studio, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then so you guys, now did everyone go in and kind of, because again, I think you're all kind of scattered around, so I don't know, was it like, did you go in and have like a session to do these songs, or was it kind of scattered? Like, someone would kind of do a part, someone would kind of come in and do this, and you kind of do the songs as you had time. Like, how did these get recorded?
It definitely scattered. I mean, maybe two. We sometimes you might be lucky to do 2 songs at a time, but usually it's just like one at a time, and at least to start the song, you know. And then maybe at some point down the road, if we have more ideas floating around, we can get together and kind of nitpick together.
Did that kind of, as a producer, I mean, because I'm sure that gives you more time, does that give you, did you kind of find yourself messing around and tweaking things a little more, or did you kind of leave it the way, you know what I mean, kind of work on it and leave it? Because I just feel like you have time. Like, you have time to think about that bass track, or you have time to think about that snare tone.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
These things.
Yeah. You have to, yeah. Well, that's what's good about having a band of different guys, where I can actually be like, what do you guys think? Because I can't make this decision anymore, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you leave it to, if it's like, it's in the nature of the producer to tinker and just and tinker, you know, and overproduce is a pretty big word. But yeah, again, having like the guys to kind of bounce ideas off of is good. And also, like, to your point earlier, like, they're hidden in plain view songs. Like, they should be pretty simple in terms of, like, we're not doing a lot of keyboards, or like yeah, there's a lot of vocals happening, but some songs are still back. Like, Life and Dreaming was 2 guitar tracks almost the entire album. Like, there's not a lot of layers. Like, there's some stuff here and there. Too. Yeah, a lot of times, like, you know, there'll be a chorus where it's like there's no lead guitar happening. It's just rhythm guitars. So when doing these songs, I try not to get caught up on like layering a ton of effects. And to be honest, sometimes I do, and I just take them out later on.
Well, that kind of goes, because I wanted to ask you, because I mean, just like on Life and Dreaming, the guitars sound great on the new songs, very full, very big. I mean, what was your rig like on this? I mean, did you use both, like, you know, guitar and amp? Did you use the same thing for both songs? Did you change it up? What were you playing on these?
Well, this is the Power Chord Hour after our.
It is. Chords on this song, on these songs, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, it's funny, man. Like, again, not to beat a dead horse, but like I would use the guitars I used back in the day just to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like my SG primarily with, say, like a JCM 900 or a JMP, orange cabinet, Marshall cabinet with greenback speakers. We're pretty simple. Nothing too crazy.
I'm looking over here. I think we play almost the same thing. I have a JCM 900 over here with an orange cab, and I have my SG over there. We have like the same.
Well, not to nerd out, but like the Marshalls are so bright and a little bit thin, but the orange cabs are so thick. It's a great.
Oh yeah,
it's a great.
I don't use pedals. I don't use pedals for the thing. I just use that dirty channel, and when I want distortion, I just go to that. I play
100. Yeah,
small. I love
100%.
Those things. Either people don't know what we're talking about, or they're getting very stoked, going, hell yeah. I like getting into this stuff. That's why I'm more about, I'd rather get like,
I'll talk your ear about this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would rather 15 people get really stoked for like 10 minutes as we like delve into that stuff, because I like hearing that. Same with the new songs, like including for you. You've been recording the band so long that we're going back to those early days. You're talking about recording on like an 8-track and stuff. You know, like now you have, look at what home recording, and I mean, you obviously have a nice studio and everything there, but like looking what you can do and what you're able to do, and you know, just even with those guitars, making them so big just off of that. Because like you were saying, right, you're not really layering them.
No, really not. But yeah, it's technology is insane right now. You know, we spent making Life and Dreaming was what, 7 weeks or 6 weeks, Joe? I kind of forget.
Yeah,
I think it was 6
about
weeks,
6 weeks.
including pre-production, 5 weeks of tracking.
Yep.
But Jim Wirt was a freaking animal. I mean, we'd get there 10 a.m. and he was never not there. He was probably there for at least an hour already, and we would work till 2 a.m. every day.
Yep.
7 days a week. Yeah. And then nowadays, like, you know, you can record a song in 6 hours if you got your shit written. But yeah, and that, a lot of that is just because of technology. You know, you can edit stuff. I mean, back then, like, you'd have to just waiting for the freaking tape to rewind was like, you know, 30 seconds between takes. You're like, all right, hit me again. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Right, just to get punched back in, right?
Just to get punched back in, right?
Yeah.
And now I have guys when I'm producing, I'm like, all right, just sing that to the click track 5 times. Take the best one. Let's go. Come on. You know.
Are there any, I mean, I know I'm asking, it's such a like general question. There's probably millions of things, but I mean, is there anything you look at now when you're like recording versus say you're recording that way early stuff in the beginning of Hidden in Plain View and like the old ska band and everything, that you're just like, damn, I'm so happy for like this this advancement. Like there's like the one thing where you look from now to then, you're like, damn, I'm happy I don't have to do that anymore or have to record in that way. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them, but is there anything that like pops out in your head where you're like, damn, I'm just happy we're not doing it the way we did it like 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy it's free now. Right, Joe?
Yeah. It's free for me. I mean, your time.
No, it's the tape rewinding is a huge one.
I can imagine.
It's so hard to answer that question, man. I mean, there was no comping takes back then, and if there was, it was splicing tape, which we never did with this band, but I worked on sessions where you did. So I don't know. There's a lot of things. Mostly it's just the fact that like things can just move so much quicker now, you know.
Oh, that seems very much. I mean, just being able to like, you can record just one song and get it out there if you want. You know, you can. It's just so much easier to get it done, and it's amazing what people can get done in even like a home recording setting or something. Like sometimes you talk to people and go, "Wow, that thing sounds amazing. Where was it recorded?" And it's like my bedroom. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. Joe, have you done any recording or production? Have you done anything on that side before?
No way. No.
Nothing
Not at all.
any interest, or you're not doing that? You're staying away from that side.
Yeah, no, I don't. It just doesn't. It's not my learning style. I mean, even like trying to set up the board for like a practice. If I used to have to, I'm like, Bob, which one does this go in? Like, where does this go?
That's all right.
Because he's setting up the monitors and he's putting it in the PA, and I'm just like, and I can set up a PA system and run a PA system, but that's about it. That's where I stop.
Where it stops. It's great. You got Rob in the band. Rob, obviously,
he's better off.
Yeah, it's okay.
God, I remember the first time I picked up a chord at his studio and started wrapping it up. He's like, no. That's just not how you do it.
This is not your electrical cord for your weed whacker.
Yeah, I've been taught a couple times the right way to do it, and I never do it the correct way. I'd probably get I might get reprimanded as well.
Come on, Anthony. Show me your cables. Come on, let's see the cables. Where are they at?
Oh, they're all over the floor. They're all over the floor, probably tangled up.
Oh boy.
So let's I want to talk a little more about these new songs, because again, I because not every band, like I just want to say that, like not every band can get back together and just kind of, like, hey, we got some new songs. Well, that's great. They're not always amazing. Anytime you guys have come back together, this one, the Animal EP, like they're solid. Like you don't miss anything. So, I mean, I want to talk about these songs more and let people know about them. And obviously we'll play them after the interview, but like kind of and I love that like behind the scenes and kind of dissecting the songs. Either of the singles, did they change a lot from the initial idea? Like, I mean, if we heard what the initial ideas for these songs were versus what we heard now, are they drastically different or do they stay pretty much the same throughout the writing for them?
Temper's identical.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, identical. And Wildfire might have changed a little bit, just structure-wise, but not too much.
Nothing too crazy in there.
No, yeah, nothing too crazy.
How about outside of, we're talking about you do all the recording and stuff like that. And obviously both of you do Hidden in Plain View, but like outside of music, do either of you have other like creative outlets? Is there anything like other way you kind of get your creativity out, or is it all pretty much music for both of you?
Yeah, for me, it's my job. I do it in my job. My job takes a lot of creativity to be good at it. It's a science, but I don't think you're good at it unless you're creative. So that's the lame answer. But no, I don't really. Yeah,
no, I would say your beer is definitely a creative outlet.
Yeah, that's true. But that's kind of.
Oh, I forgot you do that. That is a creative outlet. That is very much a creative outlet, I would say.
It's a hobby, but yeah, it's creative. Again, it's a science mixed with some art, right? So you can do it if you follow all the rules, but it's not special unless you give it some creativity.
Yeah, put some soul or something into it. You gotta like personality or something.
Right.
How about you, Rob? I mean, it seems like music probably takes up most of your time, but do you have any other like creative outlets outside of music?
Probably woodworking would be like the one.
Oh, really?
So I do a lot of like furniture building and that kind of stuff, which is awesome.
That sounds.
He's good at it.
Really?
It's just for me. It's like because like you said, I'm working on music. That's my day job. So it's kind of hard. Like, it's the downfall of the job is that when I punch out, so to speak, which you never do, I need quiet.
You're not going home and playing more guitar. You're not sitting down and like playing more music once you've done.
And I hate myself for it. Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame you though when you're doing because you're doing all of again. You're in the band, but you're also recording other bands and producing other bands and do it like at some point when your whole life revolves around it. I think you do need to find something like woodworking. How long have you been doing that? Like, when did you get into that? How did that all kind of come about? You found out that you like doing that.
I always kind of dabble. My dad's a great carpenter. My grandfather was as well. So I always I was always around it. But oddly enough, when I built this last studio, when you're building a studio, I had to build more this time than I had planned on. So that kind of got me initially into like, power tools and that kind of stuff. But oddly enough, like the building I'm in now for this studio was we bought the house from a carpenter who built furniture, and this was his wood shop.
Oh,
so
nice.
I essentially took over his wood shop and made it my studio. And he left me a bunch of tools that he just didn't take with him. So that's kind of where I kind of got the bug, so to speak, at that point. But yeah, I guess maybe 5 years ago, I would say. Nice.
That's a nice start for you to have that right there. That's not a
and that's the irony is like now I really want to build a wood shop.
Even though you have one, you got to build one now.
Yeah, I've like taken over my basement of the house, but I really want to build like another barn on the property that's just for woodworking. Which is
dude, I've
been
meaning to tell
funny.
you, man. I need a vanity for the bathroom, just so you know.
We'll talk afterwards.
All right, appreciate that.
There you go, man. This guy can build you a vanity, and he can produce your songs. What else? What else do you want? That is great. That is amazing. So
it's a good hobby, though.
No, it seems. I mean, it seems like a big overtaking. Like I would be intimidated by it, but I feel like it'd be very rewarding once you got into it. Once you like really started building, it's like, oh my god, I built that. That'd be quite great. It's like finishing a song or something, and you get out there. It's like, I made that album. I created that. Like I made that my own two hands. Like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of neat once you get it out. I'm sure it's kind of somewhat the same kind of gratification. I'm sure there's some difference. I'm sure there's a little similarity in the gratification from it.
Yeah, it's physical. You know, that's the big thing because I'm making music all the time, and a lot of times it never comes out. The artist either doesn't release it, or they break up, or I don't know what happens, or they decide they're going to wait to release it, and then by the time it comes out, I kind of lost that connection to it. I lost that immediate connection, you know. But when you're building something, when you're done, you can pick it up. It has weight to it, right? It's cool.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
So I got a couple more for you here, and I did want to talk about again. You guys are playing Furnace Fest later this year in September. Really nice lineup on that. Has the band rehearsed at all for that yet? I know it's a little while away. Has there been any rehearsing yet for that?
5 days a week, every week.
Nope. Nope.
I mean, I'm sure though you already. I mean, yeah, it's not the first time that you kind of go for a while and then come back. I'm sure you know when you can start practicing or getting ready. Has like any thought of set list or like have you gotten that far? Like thinking of what's in the set or what you're gonna do, or because again, I mean, September's a while away. I don't think you're totally slacking. You do still have a couple months.
I think as it approaches and the excitement builds, then there's room for that part to start, you know, like, because when we write a set too, you know, it's not just an order of a bunch of songs, you know, we bunch together a couple of songs and roll through 3 in a row, or, you know, take a break. And, you know, so it's you know, it's writing a show, not writing a song, but putting together a show and knowing how we want it to look, how we want it to roll through and flow. So,
or if it's a festival versus a headlining show is very different as well.
Like, I think with a festival, you just go out with your bangers, right? You only have 30 minutes usually to roll through your songs. So what's that? 6 songs, maybe 7 at best.
You are playing greatest hits basically at that point. You got to kind of certain things you got to hit. You only have so much to like hit.
You walk out and say, "Here's a song you haven't heard yet." You know?
We got
funny.
6 more.
I have no idea actually how long our set is at Furnace Fest. I don't remember. So, you know,
I think it's like 40.
I think that's where we're at.
It's unfortunately because, you know, it's more like boot camp when shows come up. We're like, all right, now it's time to buckle down and get shit in line, you know?
Yeah.
Has I mean, I guess I'm assuming, but can we expect to hear these new songs in the set? Do you think these will make them into the set list?
I'd like to do one if we could.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to do more, but I know he's going to say one. I definitely want to do more. Some of them, I mean,
Temper's also like
Temper,
2 minutes long, so.
Right, Temper, I mean, like, song completely rips. It's a ripper. Like, that would go great. I mean, it would go great live. I love that song. Like Bob, you said, it's 2 minutes long or 2 minutes, 30 seconds long. It's got only 2 choruses in it. It just kind of like rips, and then it's time to, I think, hit restart and play it again. You know, and that's what I love about that song.
That was a really good one. Has I mean, when was it? I'm sure it's been a while. Do you remember the last show you guys played? Like it's had to have been a couple years, right?
It was Warped Tour reunion, wasn't it, Bob?
Yeah, it was Warped Tour.
It was a while ago.
2019. We haven't.
It'll be 3 years this August, or that was June, that show, I believe.
Yeah.
So 3 years next month. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
And also, you said the Animal EP came out 7 years ago,
right? 2015.
That's also insane.
That is crazy to me because I discovered you guys like later on. So like I kind of discovered you almost around you put Animal EP out. So like I still think of like, oh, I just kind of discovered you a few years ago, and then I look and go, no, it's not true.
Is that true?
Yeah, I discovered you like maybe 2012, 2013.
Yeah. That's so sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember being a little bit like surprised at that too when you told me that, Anthony, in the first interview. I couldn't believe it because the way you were talking about Life and Dreaming, we talked about Life and Dreaming. That was basically all we talked about. And the way you were talking about it, it was like you were there for it. And so I was like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, no, I discovered that way later on. Yeah, you guys were long broken up by the time I discovered you or anything like that. But now I feel it's funny because everyone was I discovered a lot of bands of that scene and era of that time where I feel like a lot of you were celebrating like 10-year anniversaries and stuff. And now I'm like, damn, I've been listening to that band for 10 years now. Like I'm listening, I'm like, oh, I just discovered them. Now it's like, no, that album's turned like 20. I mean, even Life and Dreaming, you're only a few years off. That's going to turn 20 not terribly long. Resolution 15 this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Stop it, man. Stop it.
I mean, do you want me to say the other one? Because I have written here that Operation Cutthroat turns 20 this year. I've that written down as well.
That's something to celebrate.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it does.
Maybe that'll be. Do you think that's what's going to be the?
Wait,
Did I just write the furnace?
Yeah.
Are you just going to play that whole front to back?
Shit, it does.
He's yeah. You'll get the joke later. That's funny. What'd you say, Anthony? I missed that.
Oh, I was saying I think I might have just written your Furnace Fest set. I think Operation Cutthroat front to back.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Well, Anthony, what songs do you think we should play for Furnace Fest? What would you want to hear?
For one, I would like both of the new songs. I don't know what one I would say. I mean, Temper is short, but I mean, you're going to get me. I'm going to be the guy who says play new shit because I would also like to hear like all. I can't think of the names, but the 3 songs off Animal, all those are great. Even if you wanted to play, oh my god, No Way Out, the like single off it, I'd throw No Way Out in there. I mean, obviously you have this. There's the songs that you have to, there's songs I'm not even gonna recommend showing you already know to play them. But I would throw, I'm the guy who likes the later stuff and the things you may not normally play. Because I'm like, you guys got that song. You can play 20 Below, then we're gonna play this other song that you maybe not, not as well known or not expect to play.
Do you like the deep cuts?
I like the deep cuts. It's hard for me not to say the deep cuts. Because again, there's certain songs you could say where I go, you're probably going to play them anyways. If I say play this or this, like, well, it's a game.
That's a good point though, because then then it gives you a reason to go to the show, right? Like, what are they going to play?
Yeah.
And again, like I think what I like too is it kind of matches with like, look, like you like what we were doing then, but if you missed this, like if you missed the Animal EP or something, like, hey, like this is a really killer fucking song, like maybe you missed this. So I don't know. Those would be the couple I would say. The 2 new songs, I'd go No Way Out. I would like that whole EP, but I also get that last song's a little long on it. I could see that may not fit super well on the live set. Including if you got a fast pace going, that might not be the song to throw in the set. But No Way Out, at least. No Way Out, you can throw in there. I think that would work. But
you could always cut the outro out of that one. That's just the outro is what tags on the extra 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, have any of those?
And the whole reason for that long outro was just to fill up the vinyl. It really was.
Really?
Yeah. It's like it ends like I think
B-side?
I think it's like a vinyl, like the B-side's like it's like 7 minutes, I feel like, and we're like, all right, let's fill it up.
I mean, it works well when you listen to it. I think it works really well, but I also understand where I'm like, throw that in the set. I'm like, well, I don't know where you're gonna throw that in. Maybe not. But it's great. It's great to see. I mean, you're playing Furnace Fest. We got new music. I mean, anything else that we should be on the lookout for you guys? I mean, we have this now, but I mean, do you think you'll play any other shows this year? You think Furnace Fest is about it for now? I don't know what you want to say as well, but I mean, should we be on the lookout for anything else this year from you guys?
I think I would say is like, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I think my hope is with new songs, with new stuff, sparks new excitement, brings new opportunities, and when the right one comes down, then the answer will be absolutely yes. But I mean, there are some ideas that have been thrown around and things, so probably. I think. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I think you hit it. It's like ever since we put new music out, like the phone's been ringing off the hook. No, we've been getting opportunities though and offers, and we're like, wow, that's when you put stuff out at this stage, and I hate to say career, like you're happy to get anything you get, it's all bonus at this point. So like Joe said, if it makes sense, we're on board.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So be on, keep your ears peeled, keep your eyes on the social media and everything. So I guess that's where we can go from there. I mean, where do we get the new music? Where do we find you online? Where do we keep our eyes looking to make sure if more shit goes down, we
TikTok.
know when to move down on TikTok?
Yeah. No, honestly, he's right. I mean, we held out for a little while to try to get a label to do this, to do these new songs, and nothing seemed right. Nothing really worked out or panned out. So we've done this all ourselves. It took us some time to put together a team of people that were going to help us do this the right way. And so I guess, if you want to know what's going on with Hidden in Plain View, you do have to go on our socials. You do have to go on our bands in town. You do have to follow us on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram and like it there, because that's where we're reaching our fans. That's how we're getting out to people and letting them know what's going on. So
I was going to ask that too, because I know these, both songs were self-released. Like, do you think going forward, it's something you would continue doing, like going down kind of the DIY route if you put out more music?
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely DIY. It's being distributed by Vidya, or actually by Headvitch, which is like a distro company out of New Jersey. We have our team of people helping us do it. So it's really, I mean, it is independent, but it's by us. But we have people sourced. We sourced some really good people to help us do it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I said, so to answer your question, so far so good. Yeah. It's kind of nice to have the freedom. It's kind of nice to own the masters. It's kind of nice to, right, Bob? I mean,
yeah, and we're never going to commit to something. A record deal is a two-way street, and we can only commit so much on our end. It would be unfair for us to be like, yeah, let's sign your record deal, and we'll give you 3 more songs in 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to earlier, like I was talking about, where I kind of like when bands get in your position now, where you do things when you want, kind of when you want to do it for fun, or where inspiration strikes. Because it does. If you get on the right label, it's like, well, are you going to tour off this? Are you going to release something? Like, what are you going to do to promote this? Or we need you to do this or that. Not every label, obviously, but that stuff happens where it's like, you kind of want to release it at your pace and do it as you want. I feel like the route you're going is not a bad route at all. You kind of, you do it at your pace and what you want to do. Less of we got deadlines, or we need to have this. We need you to play these festivals and these shows and promote this 7-inch or full length or whatever you do. So I don't know. As a fan, I like the way you're doing it. I feel like it works. But
I appreciate that.
As we close up, we're gonna play these new songs. Did we miss anything? Anything else people should know? Any closing remarks, or shall we play these jams?
Just check out Joe's OnlyFans.
Jesus.
That's how we're funding the new music. So
the more it goes, we might get a full album.
Was that spontaneous, or did you write that?
I almost said it earlier, and then I saw an opportunity and I took it.
You're laying awake in bed last night, looking at the ceiling. You're like, I'm going to say that.
Oh, I love it. Well, you got to go subscribe to his OnlyFans after you hear this song. After you hear Wildfire, I mean, I think your OnlyFans is going to blow up like wildfire. I think that's what's about. So right now, I mean, Joe, Rob, this has been great. I love talking to you dudes. Let's play some Hidden in Plain View. Very rad. We got new music. So we'll play them both for you. We'll start with the newest one right now. Here is Wildfire right here on the Power Chord Hour. Right here on the Power Chord Hour podcast, a new one from Hidden in Plain View right there was Temper, and before that was another new one from Hidden in Plain View, Wildfire. 2 great new singles from the band, and I want to thank Joe and Rob so much for doing that interview. Really, really fun. It was great to have Joe back, great to have Rob on for the first time, and those dudes are just too much fun. I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed doing it, because that was a really good time. I love Hidden in Plain View so much. They really do and I don't know, you probably hear me. I feel like I have a decent amount of people on this show where they're kind of further along in their career, and they're back to doing music, and maybe they haven't done music in a while. They do it on and off. I definitely have had bands like that on a good amount, and I say it when I have them on, but it also, I think, is because those are the specific people that I hit up. I mean, if I'm hitting up guests, it's people who I'm enjoying what they're putting out and what they're currently putting out. Because I got to also say, I mean, there's bands that I love that, if they release something that's a real stinkeroo and it's something I can't get behind, I'm probably not having them on the show. I gotta really I gotta like what it is, not just like what you used to do. I gotta like what we're, talking about and everything. But, like I was telling Joe and Rob, and like I've, told some of the artists that I've been fortunate to have on here, it really, you're not always lucky enough to be able to come and go from the band and, keep that stamina up where you can write songs up to par, like what the fans would expect, what you would expect of yourself, from the band. Like, it really is something you have to give credit to when a band can do that. And Hidden Play and View is one of them. They can go years without playing together or writing new music. And when they go to write new music, it's just, I mean, they're back at it, like firing on all cylinders, And again, I'm sure if you think about it right now, it won't take long to think of a few bands, maybe more than a few, who, come back from a hiatus or, like whatever, here's a reunion single or here's an album or an EP or whatever. And, it's just it's just nothing, you kind of forget about it. It's not as good. And again, it's like, I think there is a stamina or whatever you want to call it, where it's just like, a band's not playing together, they're not writing together, you're going to lose that. That's why, when you're playing a lot and you're getting really good and, you continue that when the band starts, you keep getting better because you're playing more together and you're, just connecting and stuff. And, obviously some bands keep that connection, obviously. And then, others, I think it's just, you get and look at it, it makes sense. You go a long time without playing together or writing together, you're going to get a little rusty. But, what I'm saying is that's not the case with Hidden in Plain View. So really good stuff there. I hope we get more from them and would not be bummed out if we got some more new singles this year and maybe some touring from them. But sounds like there's some good stuff in the future. I know they didn't commit to anything. They didn't say anything like, hey, we definitely have this coming or that coming. But I don't know. By the sounds of it, it seems like things are good in a Hidden in Plain View world. And maybe we'll get more sooner than later, which I'm very stoked for. But that's going to be the episode. Thank you so much for checking this one out. You could follow us online at Power Chord Hour on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Oh, what else? Find us on YouTube. If maybe you're listening to us there right now, shout out to you listening to us on YouTube. But if not, you can find the show on YouTube. Just go search Power Chord Hour. And the podcast is everywhere you find your podcast. New ones out every Monday. Next week we'll be back with another one for you. Doing the, I can't believe we're at the end of another month, but we'll be doing the June 2022 rundown of the podcast. Every Friday night we got new radio shows for you on 107.9 WRFA in Jamestown, New York. Those are 8 to midnight. You can tune in from anywhere in the world. Go to WRFALP.com. You will see the big listen button. From there, you can stream the station worldwide. Tune in 8 to midnight every Friday for a new one. And, what else? Oh, if you have not heard, we have Power Chord Hour t-shirts. I'm giving them out free, absolutely free. All you got to do is rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast. Send me a screenshot of all that info, and I'll give you a t-shirt. You can send me the info if you want to DM me on social media, or if you want to send it to me, powerchordhour@gmail.com. Again, send me a screenshot of, just the rate, review, and I'll send you a t-shirt. So, I feel like that's a fair enough trade-off. I won't even make you pay shipping. And trust me, shipping is it's been a while since we've had t-shirts. We've had them in the past, but it's probably been at least a year since I shipped them out. And I think it went up, but that's okay. I will still eat that shipping cost for a just for you taking 30 seconds and just leaving a review. You get a free t-shirt. That's pretty rad, I would say. But that is going to be it. Tune back in next week. We'll have the June rundown for you. Cannot believe that. But until then, for the Power Chord Hour podcast, I'm Anthony Merchant. Thank you so much for listening.